If I could sit with you before your 30th birthday, I wouldn't hand you a list of trophies to collect. I'd hand you a way to run money that feels calm on a Tuesday after a long day when the Wi-Fi hiccuped, the bus was late, and you're tempted to rent relief at surge pricing. The popular advice makes your 20s sound like a race. Own a home, max every account, build 6 revenue streams, start a company, retire by Thursday. Real life is messier and kinder. You don't need a perfect decade. You need a handful of essential goals that make your week behave and give compounding enough oxygen to do what it does best: turn ordinary, boring repetition into freedom. The first essential goal isn't a number, it's architecture. Take your money off manual. Most financial stress in your 20s comes from trying to run life out of a single, shimmering balance that lies. That number says available, but it belongs to rent, utilities, transport, groceries, minimum debt payments, insurance, a subscription you forgot about, and the car repair your dashboard is hinting at. You keep promising to be careful. Careful loses by the 15th. Wealthy households don't rely on discipline, they rely on rails. Income lands in a quiet staging account that nobody swipes from. On dates you won't forget, it leaves automatically to do 4 jobs. One lane pays fixed bills and quietly preloads tiny buckets for predictable irregulars like tires, holidays, school fees, travel, and annual premiums, so December stops acting like a surprise. A second lane feeds a sleep fund, your buffer, every payday until emergencies become errands. A third lane buys broad, low-cost ownership on schedule before lifestyle hears the news. You can buy the whole parade with a global stock fund and pair it with a modest ballast sleeve of high-quality bonds or cash-like instruments sized to your nerves. A fourth lane is a weekly card for groceries and ordinary life that resets every Friday, so drift lasts no more than 6 days. When rails run, late fees vanish, overdrafts become folklore, investing happens whether or not you feel like it, and budgeting becomes a calendar, not a daily scolding. The second goal is to buy time before you buy toys. Time is a buffer with a name, not a vibe, not a number you hope to hit someday, but cash you can point to that prevents you from becoming a forced seller in a storm. Without it, a flat tire becomes a financed emergency, and a red screen in the market becomes a reason to sell low. With it, you can say no to bad offers, yes to better ones, and keep investing when headlines scream. Aim first for 1 month of essential expenses, then stair-step toward 3 months. If your income is volatile or other people depend on you, grow it bigger over time. Park it in higher-yield cash or short-dated government paper so it earns while it waits. This is not dead money, it's the oxygen that keeps your plan alive. The third goal is to make compounding a habit you can obey while tired. Your 20s are a target-rich environment for excitement. Hot tips from loud feeds, single-name miracles, a friend who got in early, a new platform that changes everything. Ignore the noise. You don't need to pick winners, you can buy the parade. The chore is small and repeatable. On payday, money leaves the staging account and lands in broad, low-cost funds you can carry through storms. Write a 1-page investing policy in your own words and tape it where panic can find it. It should say what you own, how much you add on payday, when you rebalance, birthday and half birthday work beautifully, what you'll do with distributions, reinvest while you're building, what you'll do if prices fall by a third, continue contributions, rebalance once, take a walk, and how you'll handle employer stock. Sell as it vests according to a rule, cap any single company at a small slice of your net worth. The market will shout, your policy will whisper, you already decided. That whisper is worth more than any stock tip you'll get this decade. The fourth goal is to turn debt from gravity into schedule. Expensive revolving balances are compound interest in reverse. They rent tomorrow's paycheck to pay for last week's relief and keep creative, hardworking people stuck on the wrong side of math. Automate every minimum so late disappears forever. Choose one target balance and add a small extra on payday until it hits 0. If you're wired for math, attack the highest APR. If you're wired for momentum, kill the smallest first and roll the freed payment. Each zero is a raise. Capture it by default. Half to the buffer until it's real, a slice to investing, and a sliver to one defined joy, so the change sticks. For useful debt, student loans that placed you on a ladder, a reliable car you truly need, tools that earn, match the term to less than the asset's life, and the payment to a cash flow that still leaves oxygen for rails. If a purchase requires a story to justify the payment, the purchase is writing your budget. The fifth goal is to price education and skills like a business, not a poster. Degrees and courses are tools. Tools live on ladders. Before you enroll, ask what ladder this places you on, who hires for that ladder, what the salary bands are, and how long to break even. Use employer funding when you can. Prefer skills sprints that produce evidence, projects, portfolios, certifications, over generic credentials that produce invoices. If you already carry student debt, stop making it a morality play. Make it a schedule. Refinance for term as well as rate so the loan dies on time under a payment you can make while investing. Then raise your price with receipts, a living log of dollars saved by a process you improved, errors prevented by a checklist you wrote, revenue created by a demo you shipped, days shaved off delivery by a redesign you led. Every 9 to 12 months, ask for the rate, title, or flexibility that matches reality. If the room can't honor the math, take the receipts to a room that can. The sixth goal is to right-size the loudest costs so your plan has oxygen. Housing and transport are where 20-somethings quietly sign away compounding. A bank's approval is not your budget, it's their appetite. The test is mechanical. After the roof is paid, can you still feed the buffer, invest on payday, and replace a water heater without debt? If not, the home is too loud for this season. Renting is not failure if it buys proximity, flexibility, and a faster ladder. Owning is not success if the payment suffocates ownership. Cars behave the same way. A reliable used tool whose term is shorter than its life will make you feel rich in a way leather never will. Keep a trunk kit, water, blanket, basic tools, a cheap headlamp so minor mishaps don't become tow bills. Learn the rituals that stretch miles: tire pressure, oil changes, filters. Your driveway is not your biography, your portfolio is. The seventh goal is to protect the asset that makes all other assets useful: your attention. Tired brains buy relief at surge pricing. Late night scroll becomes late night delivery. A red badge becomes a red number. The cheapest way to raise your savings rate in your 20s is attention hygiene. Charge your phone outside the bedroom so sleep, free performance enhancer, happens. Move shopping apps 2 screens deep and put your savings or broker app on page 1 as a cue. Keep 2 10-minute dinners and their ingredients in the house, so "I'm cooked" doesn't become "I paid 30 euros for cold fries." Carry a tiny friction kit, water, snack, charger, so convenience stores stop renting your wallet. Walk most days. None of this looks like finance, and all of it is, because the person making the financial decisions is a human animal. A rested animal keeps promises. A frantic animal buys relief. The eighth goal is to make weekends assets instead of leaks. After 5 days of structure, Saturday becomes improvisation, brunch, a mall lap, zigzag errands, a "we deserve it" dinner, and a hungry grocery run. Your card calls that freedom, your calendar calls it a tax. Replace the freestyle with a ritual, 1 cheap adventure and 1 cheap maintenance block each weekend. Adventure can be a picnic with a thermos, a free museum day, a library with a list, a long walk somewhere new, a movie projected on a sheet. Maintenance is a batch cook hour that sets up your week: rice, roasted vegetables, protein, a soup base, and a 15-minute admin sprint to pay bills, schedule refills, and reset the house. Monday becomes lighter. The weekly card reset stops being a confessional. The ninth goal is to turn taxes and insurance from surprises into design. April is a report, not a plan. If your employer offers a match, that's part of your pay. Collect it. If your country offers tax-advantaged accounts, wire contributions into your rails so they leave on schedule. If you're self-employed or have variable income, skim a fixed percentage of every invoice into a quarterlies bucket the day it lands, and set deadline alerts that chirp. Keep simple records as you go, so audits are clerical, not existential. Insure what you cannot afford to lose. Health coverage matched to how you use care, term life if someone depends on your income, disability insurance because your earning power funds everything else, and an umbrella policy over home and auto. Deductibles should match your buffer. Paperwork should be boring and easy to find. The most profitable decision you may make this decade is a claim that pays because your file wasn't chaos. The 10th goal is to build a credit file on purpose without renting your future to it. Credit is a tool that makes housing, insurance, and deposits cheaper. It is not a permission slip to buy a lifestyle. Keep utilization low by paying in full and keeping limits high relative to your usual spend. Automate payments from the bills lane so late never happens. Avoid closing your oldest accounts unless fees force your hand. If you're starting from scratch, a secured card used for a single recurring bill and paid automatically. The 11th goal is to choose geography the way you choose a tool. Proximity is profit. The right city or neighborhood can tilt your slope before you touch a spreadsheet. Shorter commutes buy back hours that become cooked meals, deep work blocks, a side route you can service, and a calmer nervous system that sells better work on Monday. Sometimes moving closer is the most profitable decision you can make. Sometimes moving away from status pressure is. Rent is an experiment. Buying is a commitment. Choose the place where your slope, income, costs, calm improves. The 12th goal is to buy distribution and process before you buy gear. If you're going to run a tiny side engine, make it boring. Separate accounts, a price book, same-day quotes with scope and expiration, morning truck checks if you run routes, weekly quality audits, invoices on delivery, and a review request with a link that takes 5 seconds to tap. Build a simple landing page that answers real questions, keep clear photos and reviews, and make booking work from a phone. None of this looks like hustle porn. All of it is compounding. Profit routed through Rails becomes assets. Assets become options. The 13th goal is to write a tiny policy library. Complexity collapses under stress. Decisions already made in calm ink survive. You already wrote your investing page. Add 2 more. Windfalls. Top up the buffer if needed, invest a slice, kill remaining ugly debt, and fund one defined joy you'll remember. Setbacks. Preserve insurance and minimums, trim the weekly card, keep investing alive at a token level if possible, call lenders early, and schedule a review date. These pages convert panic into logistics. Logistics is cheap. Panic is not. The 14th goal is to separate identity from consumption. Your 20s are loud with performance, friends renting identities they hope will become reality. The most expensive purchases are the ones that require a story to justify the math. Buy time first, slack, sleep, margin. Buy ownership second, stakes in productive assets. Buy proof last, and only when ownership can rent it with cash, without touching compounding. Choose 1 or 2 small luxuries you will buy every month on purpose, without apology, and let everything else be normal. You are not building a costume, you are building capacity. The 15th goal is to run a quarterly rebuy test on every recurring expense. Subscription creep is respectability's pickpocket. Sit down with your list and ask, would I buy this again today at this price? If the answer is anything but a clean yes, cancel or pause and route those euros to a sinking fund with a name that makes you grin. Travel with your dad, certification tuition, tires that won't squeal. The point isn't austerity, it's selection. The 16th goal is to make health part of your money plan, not a separate life. Sleep is free medicine. Walking is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy. Basic cooking changes both your budget and your evenings. Water crowds out soda without a sermon. The person renting their attention on Monday is the same person who slept Sunday. Wealth is easier for people who are not exhausted all the time. Guard energy like a budget line. It is one. The 17th goal is to make friends with the future version of you. Automate contributions to long-term buckets you can't easily touch without a ceremony. Set default escalation. Raise your investing rate by 1% each year or each raise. Keep beneficiaries current. Write a simple "where things live" note for someone you trust. Boring adults do this. Boring adults finish rich. The 18th goal is to measure the right scoreboard, slope and serenity. Every quarter, write down your assets and debts and the change since last time. Ask 2 questions. Is the slope up, and is my week calmer? If the slope is up and your life is quieter, the plan works. If the slope is flat but your life is calmer, you're building muscles you can't yet see, skills, reputation, health, that will push the slope higher later. If the slope is up and your life hurts, change the mix. More buffer, smaller housing, simpler portfolio, fewer screens, more walks. Stop letting other people's snapshots decide how you feel about your own slope. Let's pull these goals out of theory and into rooms you can recognize. A 22-year-old barista and student with a second job feels permanently behind. On a rainy Saturday, she installs rails. Payroll routes to staging, transfers fire, bills with tiny buckets for textbooks and travel home for the holidays, a sleep fund with a name, and investing lane that buys a simple global equity fund with a small bond sleeve, a weekly card that resets Friday. She moves shopping apps off the home screen and charges the phone in the hallway. She stocks 2 10-minute dinners and a freezer pantry. She starts a receipts note at work, dollars saved by reorganizing supplies, and uses it to ask for a bump in 9 months. By 25, she has a 2-month buffer, no late fees, and an investing habit that's survived a fright. She doesn't feel wealthy, she feels unbothered. That feeling is the foundation. A 27-year-old developer with equity comp and a glossy lease feels rich on paper and poor at checkout. He writes a 1-page policy, sells RSUs as they vest according to a rule, routes a slice to a tax pot immediately because withholding lies, and caps fixed costs so a missed bonus becomes a shrug. He and his partner run a 10-minute weekly logistics check-in. What happened last week? What matters this week? Any irregulars? And one small joy to fund. They replace the flashy lease with a reliable tool, downshift housing 1 rung for oxygen, and install a bike commute. His savings rate jumps 10 points without virtue. By 29, he's doubled his invested multiple, and more importantly, his week is quiet. A 28-year-old teacher and parent with seasonal expenses and an older car sets a 3-year target. Kill the last high APR card, reach a 3-month buffer, and invest on payday without drama. She builds a sinking fund for summer childcare and holidays, so those months stop rating next February. She starts a small Saturday window cleaning route with a price book and invoices on delivery. Every 9 months, she asks for a stipend with receipts. Days shaved off scheduling, dollars saved in supplies, outcomes improved for students. At 30, her slope is loud enough to hear. Not viral, real. If your 20s are already crowded and this feels like too much, translate it into a ceremony you can finish tonight. Rename one bank account, staging/rails, and route your next paycheck there. Create 4 automatic transfers. Bills early in the month, sleep fund on payday, investing on payday, weekly card every Friday. Move recurring bills to the first week so drifting can't spawn late fees. Write your 1-page investing policy in your own words and tape it where panic can find it. Start a receipts note and add 1 outcome you delivered today. Move shopping apps 2 screens deep and put your savings or broker app on page 1. Charge your phone outside the bedroom. Cook one of your 2 default dinners and cancel 1 subscription that fails the rebuy test and route the savings to a sinking fund you name that lets your shoulders down. Then let the weekly card reset on Friday. That's the whole play. Not a perfect month, one well-designed week repeated until your 30s can't help but compound. You are going to wobble. A week will run hot. An algorithm will catch you at 11:30 p.m. A family surprise will swallow half your buffer. The difference between people who escape and people who restart forever is not virtue, it's repair speed. Never miss twice is the sentence that protects decades. Resume the transfer on payday. Trim the card next week. Refill the buffer before anything else. Obey the rebalancing date and the drawdown rule you wrote in calm ink, and go for a walk. Recovery beats perfection. Rhythm beats drama. Calendars beat moods. What about the loud goals you're supposed to hit before 30? Own a home, Max every account, have 6 income streams? Some people will, many won't, and many shouldn't yet. A home that suffocates your rails is not a milestone, it's a museum. Maxing accounts is lovely if your week already behaves. If not, build the buffer that prevents you from unmaxing in a panic. Multiple streams without process are leaks. One stream you price well and deliver without drama, captured by rails that route the surplus into assets on arrival, is worth more than 5 logos that pay in exposure. Your 20s are about making your week so competent that your 30s feel inevitable. A decade from now, what will matter most isn't whether you timed a purchase perfectly or found a unicorn stock. It will be that you learned to buy time before toys, ownership before proof, sleep before screens, and policies before panic. You will pour coffee on an ordinary morning and notice an absence. No late fee email, no panic at checkout. The weekly card resets and you feel nothing. The sleep fund sits in a higher yield account with a name that lowers your shoulders. Your investments bought more last night because payday told them to. Your receipts note is long enough to make your next ask respectful and easy. The car starts because you bought a tool, not applause. The group chat is loud. Your kitchen is calm. That calm is what financially ahead by 30 feels like from the inside. It isn't a number on a chart. It's a week that compounds without your constant heroism. When you're tempted to measure your 20s by someone else's snapshots, return to your scoreboard, slope and serenity. If the slope is up and your week is quieter, you are doing it right. If the slope is flat, but your life is saner, you're doing it right. If the slope